Mario Kart is definitely a sight to behold. Of course, when a new one comes out, everybody is on the lookout to see if their favorite has finally made it to the main stage. But let's be honest, the real showstoppers of the series aren't your Daisies, Peaches, Luigis, or even Marios, but instead, it's what you can throw at them. So with today's video, I want to take a look to see which ones stand out, which ones skillfully change the tides, and which ones make you want the world to cave in on itself and rank them. But not just the normal ones, no. We're talking about the special items in Mario Kart Double Dash and only them. Since there are not as many special items as there are normal items, I've decided to have it go through S tier to B tier, because there are no bad special items in my opinion. Also, to make up with the shorter listing, I made this tier list rankings a bit more accurate, so to speak. S tier items will be titled, "Will Never Take for Granted Why Would You Ever Not Appear in Another Mario Kart?" A tier items are, "Would Always Want It Since There Is Value to Be Had." And last but not least, B tier items are standard. Yep, that's it, just standard. Also, side note, there's not going to be any real Mario Kart footage, because where's the fun in using relevant footage to give a boost to retention for your video? So instead, I'm just going to use a bunch of edited images to do the job. Now with that out of the way, let's get this totally analytical and totally not biased list underway. Starting off with the bros, special items are the fireballs. More specifically, the red fireballs for Mario and the green fireballs for Luigi. Now, as someone who likes to have Luigi as one of the drivers, this item is dear to me. Being able to launch a far-reaching spread of fireballs that will spin out opponents and make them do an animation putting out the fire just brings a certain joy to me. Gotta love blatant arson in my Mario game. Honestly, I prefer this fire-related item to the more modern Fire Flower item, because I feel satisfied when the person in front or behind gets unexpectedly trapped in a spontaneous inferno, because there is skill required to pull this off at times. For instance, on a straightaway, it's easier for you to hit other racers, but they have ample amount of room to dodge the fireballs, so you need to gauge your distance so they have less room to maneuver the oncoming onslaught. On turns, it's a lot harder since the fireballs will go straight regardless until they, ricochet off a wall. So you have to predict how sharp your opponent will turn and turn ahead of them, so the fireballs will be able to connect. Things like that made the fireballs feel more technical, as you only had one shot to do this. Opposed to now, you pretty much just spam the fire flower with half of the fireballs canceling out each other, because some of them ricocheted off a nearby wall. And even when I hit the other racers, I didn't nearly feel a sense of great accomplishment, since I mashed the item button and knew it was going to work out somehow regardless. So this item deserves the "Will Never Take for Granted Why Would You Ever Not Appear in Another Mario Kart" tier. Oh yeah, kind of forgot this was where it made its debut. This item is Wario and Waluigi's item, and let me tell you, if there is one mechanic that I definitely miss, it's the old explosion properties. For those who have been blessed with only ever playing the newer Mario Karts, explosions used to not only fling you into the stratosphere and take literal decades to come back down, but they would take away your items too, which made them feel like real game changers, backed up with how the bomb was only a stationary item that would detonate shortly after deployment or when racers drove too close. It was satisfying to drive away with a loud kaboom in the distance. You definitely feel the impact of the bomb only standing one place though. This can prove to be hard to hit racers in front of you that are very far away, since timing with the lob plays a lot more significant role in this rendition of the item. Along with racers who are directly behind you, because those explosions are no joke. They will detonate very quickly when it comes to direct contact with racers or hazards, so be careful when trying to block a red shell with one of these. Otherwise, into the "Would Always Want It Since There Is Value to Be Had" tier you go. You earned it. Now this one is a fan favorite. Not my favorite, but definitely a favorite for sure. The Baby Mario Bros. Special item is essentially a prototype bullet bill if the track had magnets anywhere. and attached to it by a piece of twine in a dream. A wackier item that I wish was still in the current Mario Kart games, as it added a much needed chaos that many items lack since each one seems to always want to one-up the other. It was not too broken since you still had to be at the ready for when the chain breaks. Otherwise, you might end up off-road or falling from the upper reaches of the atmosphere via rainbow. Yet it gave you a nice boost while mowing down the competition. And after that, the chain chomp breakaway still provided an interruption that affected other racers, providing you a much needed chance to catch up. I personally don't like it as much as other people do because I just don't get it through in an item box. Hey, I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. It needed to be balanced in a way so you didn't get run over every second of the race. It's just more of a personal preference. But I still see it as a more than worthwhile special item. Would always want it since there's value to be had too. The heart is arguably the most underrated item in all of Mario Kart. The princess's item allows you to take most items that hit you and use them for yourself. Now, some of you might be asking, how is that underrated? It sounds like something that everybody would be talking about. Well, truth be told, that's because it's underprivileged to be a boring item, but you didn't hear that from me. When you use it, all it does is surround your cart with 2 pink hearts. That's it. Now, older me understands that an item's flashiness and immediate response doesn't mean it's not a bad item. But younger me, if I can't see sparkles and people flying in the air after I use an item, I do not want it. Which sucks, since this could be a lifesaver. When I tell you the feeling you get when somebody tries to hit you with something like a red shell, you pull out the heart, then hit them back with the same red shell, peak game design right there. The only things it can't defend you from are blue shells, bomb explosions, lightning, and chain chomps. But otherwise, everything else is fair game. And another drawback is this item is being reserved for the lower placements, aka anything but first place, so you won't get it as much as you usually want it, but nevertheless, I digress. One of the best defensive items of all time, will never take for granted. Why would you ever not appear in another Mario Kart tier? So, these next 2 items were actually in the previous Mario Kart game, Mario Kart 64, but they must have thought that the triple shells were broken. So they made them special items for good old Koopa and Paratrooper in this game. Not only that, but you now juggle and or stack them, instead of the shells revolving around your cart, essentially cutting your defensive capabilities in half. I mean, I understand that mentality for the red shells if that was the intention to nerf them. But the green shells? That got me stumped. When you're juggling shells, if you get hit, you lose all but one of them. So you'll be driving, getting to an item set, and thinking, finally, I'll be able to defend myself or do anything, only to be slapped in the face and gaslit that it didn't happen. Also, and I don't know if this is just me, but whenever I get these, it's always been in the worst case scenarios. Need to take down several people before the bend at the finish line? Triple greens. Need to get someone that's on a winding, non-guardrail road? Triple greens. Need to pay off your final mortgage on the house so you can finally be out of debt from the bank? Triple greens. Look, when I started this video, I said that there are no such thing as bad specials in this game because each one of them provides at least some sort of advantage over the competition. I lied for this one in particular. In fact, I feel like it's so atrocious that it is appropriate to place this one in a tier of its own, called You Make the World Weep at Your Mistakes and Cause Never-Ending Disaster That Plagues the Mind and Imagination at Large. I believe the shells do not have your best interest in mind. Not much can be said that I didn't already say about the green shells. Well, except it won't want your firstborn in exchange for ice water at your local cafe. It does seem to make more sense to have the juggle mechanic for the red shells, since they are pretty powerful. So I don't really have anything else meaningful to add, so instead I'm gonna let you on a little secret. But if you use a mushroom while somebody is holding an item, you can actually steal it. So if you ever see a Tower of Terror known as triple red shells have a mushroom, and behind the racer, go for it. But otherwise, a very standard item compared to the other specials, as you usually will pick Koopa or Paratrooper for this item exclusively. Standard tier. Continuing the trend of being normal items before to now special item status in this game, we have the golden mushroom. Toad and Toadette's item is very simple but effective, allowing you to have unlimited mushrooms for a short time that can come in a pinch, especially for long stretches of roads with no boosts. Its usefulness really depends on the track and where you use it, with its only gripe that you get it towards the back of the pack instead of towards front running. Always a joy to grab this when I fall behind a bit too much though. Definitely A would always want it since there's value to be had. For being a banana, this sure is destructive at times. This is the king of the jungles and his little buddy's item, none other than DK and Diddy Kong themselves. The giant banana really plays on how narrow a lot of the roads are in Double Dash. Its size can at times cover half the track, and can block certain shortcuts with ease. And its obstacle potential is heightened, as whenever a driver runs into it, it'll break into 3 smaller bananas, littering the track. A reliable yet not broken item, since there are a few special items, plus the star, that can destroy it in one hit. But one of the few special items that you can get in first place, as its power doesn't shine in the back placements, but rather when you're front running. A solid choice for those who like a solid line of defense and or find themselves in the upper placements a lot. Would always want it since there is value to be had tier. The Yoshi and the Birdo Egg are the special items of, well, Yoshi and Birdo respectively, and are the most luck-based items in the game. Its whole gimmick is it's a red shell. When it collides with a racer or another item, it will spit out 3 different items onto the track. It can release hazards that impede other racers, like a green shell or banana. However, sometimes a mushroom or a star can be dropped, and if the opponent is quick or far away enough, can benefit greatly from this. Even the occasional bomb it can drop can end up biting you in the back if you're not careful. Now, it is tempting to banish it with an item that shall never be mentioned again, but it doesn't curse me as much as that forbidden discard reptilian armor paired in green. It really is just the luck of the draw for this item, and everything depends on good positioning if it manages to drop something good. Very middling item, and for that, into the standard tier you go. Okay, I'm not gonna even hype this one up. This is the best special in the game, at least in my opinion. Bowser's and Bowser Jr.'s item, the Bowser Shell, is an offensive powerhouse, opting to get rid of the racer's held item when hit. It has a huge hitbox, so it makes sniping other racers and stray hits while it continues to ricochet off walls so easy. Bulldozes through many items without any issue. It is balanced enough to not only have counterplay through other specials, but can also hit the user if they're not careful. It lasts a good while making it a real obstacle racers have to plan around. It makes good coffee and tea, but above all else, you can get this in first place, making any possible onslaught of oncoming items or racers with a suspiciously generous horde of mushrooms be a thing in the past, allowing you to get that much needed lead to nab first place and earn you a triple star gold cup. This is the mostest, the bestest, the great upon great of will never take for granted. Why would you ever not appear in another Mario Kart? And with that, this is my opinion on the Mario Kart Double Dash special items. I would love to do a tier list of all the items, but that will have to be in a later video considering just how large the selection has gotten over the years. I really think that this installation of Mario Kart had some of the most engaging elements regarding the items. Each one felt like they did something different enough to keep you on your toes, while having the fun of finding out what you'll get in the next time item. Each one felt like they did something different enough to keep you on your toes, while having the fun of finding out what you'll get in the next item box to change the tides of the race. Well, maybe not every item was that different from each other. I really want special items to come back, but not as character exclusive since it makes you feel like you're obligated to pick a certain character rather than it being a suggestion. Instead, it should be from a random set that can change race to race or cup to cup, always having a certain special item for the front placings, middle placings, and back placings. But let me know in the comments about your thoughts. Do you agree with my tier list? Have a different favorite special item? Would you like to see special items back? And if changing how they are selected for a race from my suggestion is a good idea? Or maybe you have an idea in mind about how they should be presented in a future Mario Kart. Anyways, that'll do it for this video, and I will see you in the next one. Wait, what do you mean Mario Kart Tour special items technically?